Hi folks, Mr. B here. In this Illustrative Math Geometry section, Unit 1, Section 15, it's about what happens to the diagonal of a rectangle when the rectangle is reflected across a line of symmetry. So we're looking at lines of symmetry, and this is with rectangles. And this is the cool down from this section. And then what does this suggest about the diagonals of a rectangle? Well, I'd like to investigate this some more. So I'll start with a segment using my segment tool, draw a segment AB. I'm going to make a rectangle out of this by making this a right angle. I will construct a perpendicular line through point A to this line and through point B to this line. And now we will construct, let's just use the vector tool. I'm going to vector translate A along this to point C, and I'll also translate this segment. So I'll use my translation tool, translate by vector, translate this by this distance. Sorry, go back. I'll translate this by this distance to get to B prime, A prime and B prime. And now I will also make this a rectangle and hide the extraneous lines. So I don't need this point. I can hide this. And I can also take my polygon tool, go from A prime to A, B, B prime. And this makes my rectangle. I can hide these two lines. Don't need to see them. And I don't need to see any other points. So I'm going to use my tool over here and show no new objects. To find the axis of symmetry here, I'm going to take the midpoint and draw it perpendicular. So first thing I'll do is find the midpoint using the midpoint tool. And then I'll draw a perpendicular through that midpoint. I could just use the perpendicular bisector tool. That would do the same thing. Cuts it at its midpoint. And this tool right here. And the question is, what happens when you reflect a diagonal across its axis of symmetry? So I'm going to take this line and I'm going to reflect it across this axis of symmetry. This one, I'll make this a dotted line. So let's do that. I'll use the reflection tool, reflect about a line, take this and reflect it across this axis of symmetry. Wow. Let's go back for a minute. What happens if I instead reflect it across this line? And this line, let me just look at the style of this one, make it a dotted line like that one. What if I reflect this same fellow across this line? Now, I don't need to show these 2 points. What am I doing? Don't need to see that. Don't need to see this. So let's reflect about a line, this diagonal, about its axis of symmetry. Oh, I get the same line. What does this suggest to you? Well, it looks like these are both going to be congruent, and it looks like they're going to be on a circle. And in fact, that's the truth. Good luck and success.